the hashtag that is viral on social right now is, if it's Boeing, I ain't going. And you saw the news about it's just a couple days, like day before the Boeing 777 had to make the emergency landing because of all the issues. And then, of course, the whistleblower who went to all this trouble to blow the whistle on Boeing just suddenly decides that he's done with this life. It is really shocking. And, for us, we grew up in a world where Boeing was one of those blue chip company brands.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That was synonymous with American excellence, wasn't it?
That's totally. It was like IBM. It was like AT&T. As a matter of fact, it was above them. Boeing was one of our the companies that best represented American excellence and might. Nobody could build a plane like Boeing.
Years ago, my theory was, if a plane crashed or had a big problem, that's the plane I want to fly on next, because once they've had a big problem or something that hits the news, then they're going to tighten this thing down. They're going to check everything, because they cannot afford anything else to happen. But it's like every other day. It's not getting any better. Wheels, I mean, it's not. It's not.
You guys, my husband does not like to fly. I don't know that, and he doesn't have to fly. Like, I have to fly for my job. So whether I like to fly or not, whether I think if it's Boeing, I ain't going or not, I got to get on that plane, right? Thankfully we don't travel as much as we used to, but I still travel a fair amount. Kevin doesn't have to, and he's flatly refusing to fly, which means that if we can't drive to it, he's not going, which means I'll never get him to, like, I don't know, Tuscany or Egypt or whatever. Like,
or visiting your mother.
He'll drive. No, he'll drive. Yeah. Like my mom is he's done it a bunch of times. My mom, because I'm going to go see her next month. My mom is like, well, Kevin has to come. I'm like, Mom, he won't fly. She said, well, then he can just drive. I'm like, he can barely put weight on his foot. She said, well, he's sitting.
Right. Mom, put him in the trunk. Put him in the trunk. He'll be fine.
Yeah. It's 1,300 miles away. Well, he can listen to a podcast. I mean, it's just like,
whatever. That I have the same nervousness about flying that Lamar and you were talking about. And what helped me get over it to a certain degree, just a certain degree, is I had a very good friend I played golf with a lot, who was the CEO of Goodrich. And Goodrich is a worldwide manufacturing company of parts for airplanes. And so we were waiting to tee off one day, and I said, so how do I get over this fear that I have? Because I have to fly, and I'm okay if it's really smooth and we're at 35,000 feet and everything's going great. He said, well, the main thing you need to remember is this. My company produces these parts, and almost every airplane has redundancy. And then redundancy upon that. So if, I don't know, a gear jams, there's another gear that can take over, and it's one way or the other, it's going to be fine. You don't have to worry about it. So that has been very helpful to me. But I got to be honest, as soon as that door flew open.
There wasn't another door. There wasn't another door.
Right.
There wasn't another door. The tire flew off a United Airlines Boeing 777 shortly after takeoff at San Francisco, and they had to do an emergency landing at LAX. And then 2 nights ago, American Airlines had an issue with a tire. So I don't know, maybe take those bad boys over to Firestone and have Gary look at them. I don't know what is going on with these airplanes. But Boeing needs to get at this, because as soon as something like, if it's Boeing, I ain't going, starts trending, that's a mess that is very hard to mop up.
The Bob and Sheri website, the Oddcast, contest info, bobandsheri.com.
Well, welcome to the Bob and Sheri show with the entire gang. When Lamar just before we went on, came up with a subject he'd like to talk about, I was against it. And everyone else, Max was a little uneasy, but I was overruled. The only thing I asked was that there are several disgusting words to describe this process. And I said to Lamar, please do not use those disgusting words. And he agreed.
Well, first off, Bob, it's not what you think. It's not. It's not. It's not what you think.
Yeah,
what we're talking about. What we're talking about is a mucus drainage out of your nose. Okay.
You have to do the word drainage.
Yeah. Well,
Lord.
I'm just saying. Hold on. It's not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be.
I got the joke.
Bob, as one who has done a joke over and over again, you should recognize their own kind.
They've done research about this. Okay, they've done research. If you've got a blocked nose and you can't breathe, if you could do a few days of mucus treatment, it could cure that blocked nose and even hay fever up to 3 months. Okay, previous research has suggested that people with a more diverse array of nose bugs are less likely to suffer chronic congestion or hay fever. So, like if your mucus is not getting the job done, maybe if they took my mucus and Sheri's mucus and a touch of Max's and dabble a little bit of Doc's in there and mixed it all up. Now, if you snorted that up, it would be one thing, but that would be unsanitary. What they're doing is they're mixing this up and putting it into a spray, just like you would buy it off the counter. But having those mixed up, you could not have to blow your nose for months. I mean, these are scientists from a university. Yeah.
What university? What university is this?
The University of Lund. So.
I will.
The what?
The University of Lund.
Lund.
This is from the
L-U-N-D?
International Forum of Allergy and Rhinology. I'm telling you, these are real people.
This is real science. They already know that they can, like for children with chronic ear infections, that sometimes you can transplant some of the material inside another person's healthy ear to that child and help them with ear infections. We know about fecal transplants. Like, why not this? Right?
If you take a fecal tablet and swallow it, it will help treat C. diff.
The University of Lund, by the way, is from Sweden, and they've been around since 1666.
Yep.
Yeah. So don't mock. Don't mock.
Right.
And if you had a choice, you've got C. diff. Bob, we can give you a fecal transplant from Doc, or you can die. Let me tell you what, you're going to be begging Doc for that. You are going to beg him on your knees for that.
What's the mascot of the University of Lund? Like a penguin or something?
I don't think they have penguins in Sweden, but nice try.
Well, it's getting up there, though.
What you have to have.
It's a pancake. It's an IKEA dresser. I don't know. It's some cliched Sweden thing.
Now, let me
listen. This is why you shouldn't be grossed out by this. We have gotten very far off the rails in terms of our understanding of like health and the body and the natural environment. You wouldn't have been grossed out if Lamar had named like a long string of chemicals that was going to help you be healthier, because the big pharma industrial complex has conditioned us to believe that taking these chemical compositions is the ticket to health, when maybe, just maybe, like we have some other options in addition to those. I'm not saying we get rid of big pharma, but maybe in addition to the little pill with a big story to tell, we also could have some of Doc's nose droppings and be healthy, right?
Listen.
I thought Doc's
Bob.
Was the other end. Doc's
Bob.
is doing
He's
the
both.
nose too.
He's
Bob,
both. He can do
He's
it
both?
all.
All right, I'm
Bob,
convinced.
I
Doc,
want you to think
are you
this.
in, Doc? I'm waiting for you, my man. I'm waiting for you.
I'm gonna have to start charging a pretty penny for these droplets.
All right, Bob. Would you not ever have to have the sniffles or a stuffed up nose? Would a snot swap be too much to think about? I mean, honestly.
There, you said you were not going to use that term, and there you did.
I'm sorry.
There you did.
I read this, and it was a
gained-
medical term. It was a medical term, and
That's not a medical term.
It.
That's
It
not a
was-
medical term.
At the University of London, it is. I'm just saying.
The University of London.
But listen,
no, it's
before they
not.
do that, like before you would get all of our mucuses, they would put us on antibiotics for 2 weeks. Okay, so we're all on antibiotics for 2 weeks so that our mucus is healthy mucus. This is the same thing that people do for digestion. They need bacteria. Bacteria is not always bad. There's good bacteria, there's bad bacteria.